came from and kind of what he's got going on. Ricky Williams, man, welcome to the channel. How you making out, buddy?
That's great, down to earth. Like, because I talk about a lot of concepts that are way out there, but I do try to make them, more down to earth. So
I
that
feel
means a
like you're a
lot.
pretty down to earth dude, man. I mean, I remember when everything kind of happened. I was a young boy, but I remember you being this unbelievable running back, and so many people were talking about the Miami Dolphins at that time. Even though you were with the Saints for a bit, you kind of blew up with the Dolphins, right, and took over. And the reason why I say you're down to earth, man, is because you're just a regular dude, man. I mean, you walked away from a lot of money just to be Ricky Williams and be yourself, man. So you are down to earth, buddy. You probably pride yourself on being down to earth. Am I right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
man.
one of the things that I hated about fame is that people stopped seeing me as like just a guy, they put me on a pedestal and it really like made the interactions like not very much fun. And it's funny after I got in trouble for cannabis and people would start to come up to me, you know, they could relate to me more. And it was weird. And like overnight, the quality of my interactions with people, instead of getting worse, they got better.
I think you were almost like ahead of your time in this weird way. Not that you were ahead of your time, because I mean you were killing it, buddy. Heisman Trophy winner, monster in Texas, just taking names and killing people here in this game, right? But like, when did you figure out that like it just really wasn't for you, man? When did you realize like this isn't me? I don't want to do this.
Yeah. It was difficult because I think it's hard to give up the things that we're really good at. And especially when we received a lot of money and attention and adulation for doing those things, it's really even hard to have the inner awareness of maybe this isn't for me. And I think that's why I'm grateful to cannabis in my life because I started smoking mainly because it was social and a lot of the guys were doing it after practice and I started to notice that it would make me more like reflective and I started thinking about things differently. And when I started doing that, I started to like remember when I was a kid, and the reason I wanted to be famous was because I wanted to have a platform to like have something meaningful to say. And then where was I was a football player. I had a platform, but anytime I said something that was important to me, people told me to shut up and run the football. And so I was like, like I don't, I want to be making a difference in people's lives, but it feels like I'm just distracting them or entertaining them for a couple of hours on Sunday. And I felt like when I was thinking about what do I have to offer people, I realized I don't have much because I've been playing football my whole life. And so I realized I needed to get out and experience the world more. And so my priorities shifted, from chasing the outer success to looking for more of an internal kind of success.
Such a weird thing. Like, I mean, I'm on this weird journey right now where I just started creating cannabis content over the last few years. And companies are starting to find me, and I'm getting asked to do some things. And I'm talking to some pretty crazy people, you being one of them, Tommy Chong. And, like, for me, looking at that, like, I'm like that young kid playing football, that young Ricky Williams that, like, is trying to chase this dream. But when I kind of dove into your story over the last few weeks, man, you're a huge inspiration. Like, what you did is pretty wild. Like, people thought you were crazy, man. People thought you were losing your mind. In reality, you were finding your mind, man. And the more that I'm looking into it, like, it's so interesting, man. So during that point where you get caught for smoking weed, you get suspended, and you walk away from it all, like, were you questioning your own mindset at that time? Were you thinking, hey, I'm crazy? Or were you thinking, like, where am I headed?
No, no. I mean, I'm a risk taker, obviously, being in the NFL's drug program and still continuing to consume and just playing football. The way I play, you have to be kind of a risk taker. So I've always been a risk taker, but I'm also a very thoughtful person, Like I take measured risk and I already come to terms with if I get in trouble, I'm good. Right. So I already knew if this doesn't work out in the NFL, this doesn't work with the NFL, I have a lot of other plans and things that I really would like to be doing with my life. And so I didn't. But what I did have to deal with after I retired was I spent my whole life chasing this dream. And now that this dream is over, like, what do I do now? Right. That was that was real. That was a real question. And I just followed my heart and I started traveling. And as I started traveling, I started finding all the answers I was looking for.